Ethan was just a young human translator, barely 2 years into his service. He wasn't special. He wasn't a soldier or a diplomat. He just had a gift for learning alien languages, and because of that, he was chosen for an assignment most humans would never accept. The job was simple on paper. Work inside the court of Queen Jarani, ruler of the Azkarine Empire. Learn their culture, help translate, and don't offend anyone. But everyone on Earth knew the truth. Queen Jarani was terrifying. Stories said she had ended wars with one order, silenced worlds with a single look. Some even said she had never smiled. Ever. Ethan had read every file they gave him. He memorized customs. He practiced the language until he could dream in it. And still, the first time he stepped into her throne hall, his knees shook. The hall was massive, dark, and silent. Soldiers stood like statues. Nobles in tall robes whispered behind long masks, and at the end of the room, on a throne made of black stone, sat Queen Jarani. She was tall, taller than any human. Her skin shimmered with pale silver. Her armor looked more like living metal than clothes. She didn't move as Ethan walked forward. She only watched. A minister introduced him in the alien tongue. This is the human known as Ethan. He comes with permission from the United Worlds Council. The queen didn't speak at first. Her glowing eyes studied Ethan. When she finally spoke, her voice was calm but sharp like a blade. And why should I allow a fragile creature like this to walk inside my court? Ethan took a deep breath. He bowed the way they taught him. I only ask to observe and serve, Your Majesty. I will never be in your way. For a moment, nothing happened. Then she raised one brow. We shall see. That was the start of it. Days passed. Ethan kept his head low. He watched. He listened. He translated small reports and messages. He never said more than needed. And though the court treated him like a strange pet, the queen never ordered him gone. But one afternoon, everything changed. It was a quiet meeting. The queen was reviewing reports of a failed colony. Ethan stood near a wall, translating a data slate for a noble. The queen was pacing slowly, reading out numbers. Suddenly, she stopped. This is nonsense, she said sharply. These reports are useless. Whoever wrote them should be punished for wasting my time. Her voice echoed through the chamber. Everyone went still. Ethan, without thinking, whispered under his breath, You look kind of cute when you're mad. He didn't mean to say it out loud. The air turned to ice. Every alien in the room stared at him. The noble beside him looked like he might faint. A guard reached for his weapon. And Queen Jarani? She froze. She didn't speak. She didn't blink. She just stared at Ethan like she couldn't believe what she'd heard. Ethan's heart stopped. I'm sorry, he stammered. I mean, it just slipped out. The queen raised a hand. Everyone stopped moving. Leave, she said. At first, no one moved. Then she repeated, Leave. All of you. The chamber emptied fast. The guards, nobles, even the ministers vanished. Only Ethan and the queen remained. He looked at the floor, certain his life was about to end. But she didn't speak for a long time. She just stood there, her back to him. Finally, she turned around. Do you know what that word means? Human? She asked. Ethan looked up slowly. Cute? She nodded once. Yes, he said softly. In human culture, it means something, small or charming, usually in a nice way. I didn't mean it as an insult. The queen stared at him. You used it for me. He nodded. Yes, I wasn't thinking. I just said it. She stepped closer. No one has ever called me that. Not in my life. Not once. Ethan swallowed hard. I'm really sorry. Do you see me as weak? No, he said quickly. Never. You're powerful. Everyone knows that. It was just, in that moment, your expression, It reminded me of someone I cared about. She used to get mad and look the same way. It just came out. The queen looked at him for a long time. Then, without a word, she turned and walked away. "Go back to your quarters," she said over her shoulder. He obeyed. Word spread fast. Some said he was lucky. Others said the queen was planning something worse. The court buzzed with whispers. Why hadn't he been punished? What did it mean? Ethan didn't sleep well that night. But the next morning, a message arrived. The queen wanted to see him again. The message had been clear and simple. Ethan was to report to the queen's private garden at dusk. It was an unexpected invitation. No one in the court had ever been summoned there alone. Ethan's heart raced as he prepared. The walls of the palace seemed colder than usual. He arrived early. The garden was a surprise. Unlike the dark halls, it was full of strange, glowing plants and soft air. Alien flowers with colors Ethan had never seen bloomed under twin moons. The place felt peaceful, almost like it belonged to another world. Then Queen Jarani appeared. She moved without armor, wearing only a simple robe that shimmered like water. Her hair was long and silver, falling gently over her shoulders. Ethan saw a side of her no one else had seen before, calm, almost fragile. "You came?" she said, her voice softer than in the throne hall. "Yes, Your Majesty," Ethan replied, bowing his head. She didn't smile. "You said a word yesterday. Cute. You understand it was strange?" "Yes," Ethan said honestly. "I understand it was not a word you expect to hear from me." She paced slowly, thinking. "The word, it means weakness in my world." Ethan shook his head. "In human culture, it means something like small and charming. It is often a compliment." "I did not mean to insult you." Jarani's eyes studied him. "You are different from the others. Because I am human? Because you speak without fear. You speak without hiding." Ethan smiled nervously. "I think it is better to be honest." She paused, then asked quietly, "What else do humans say when they want to describe feelings?" "There are many words," Ethan said. "Happy, sad, angry, scared, but also words like adorable, sweet, or lovely. They show kindness." Jarani frowned. "Kindness? I do not understand it well." Ethan nodded. "Sometimes kindness can be a weapon too. It can change how people see each other." She looked at him carefully. "And you think your word changed how I see myself?" Ethan shrugged. "Maybe. Or maybe it reminded you of something. I have spent my life building a wall of power and fear. No one sees what is behind it." Ethan stepped closer, careful not to offend. "Sometimes letting someone see behind the wall can be hard. But it can also help." Jarani sighed deeply. "You speak like a teacher." "I am no teacher," Ethan said. "Just a human who knows what it is like to be misunderstood." She turned away, looking at the glowing flowers. "In my world, I am the queen. I have no right to be soft." "Maybe softness is a strength you have forgotten." The queen looked at him, surprised by the words. Then, a soft sound broke the silence. A small alien bird, glowing like a star, landed near them. Jarani reached out, letting it rest on her finger. "It is strange," she said. "This creature is small, fragile, yet beautiful." "Like your word cute," Ethan said quietly. Jarani smiled just a little the first time Ethan had seen it. "You will stay here for a while," she said. "Why?" Ethan asked. "Because I want to understand your world better," she said. "And because I do not want to be alone with these thoughts." Ethan nodded. "You are not alone anymore." For the next days, Ethan was allowed rare access to the Queen's private garden. They talked about human feelings, stories, and even jokes. The court began to whisper. Why was the Queen spending so much time with a human? Was she losing her mind? One day, a young noble approached Ethan. "You should be careful," he warned. The queen is not like us. She hides many secrets. I know, Ethan replied, but I see another side of her. The noble laughed bitterly. You see what you want, but power does not forgive weakness. Ethan ignored the warning. One evening, Jirani asked Ethan to tell her a story from his childhood. He told her about his sister, who had always called him cute when he was angry or scared. How her words made him feel safe. The queen listened, her face unreadable. Then she said softly, "Maybe there is power in being called cute." Ethan smiled. "There is power in being true." Jirani nodded slowly. Then, the moment changed. A loud alarm sounded through the palace. Guards rushed past. Ethan and the queen looked at each other alarmed. "Something is wrong," she said. They hurried inside. The court was in chaos. A rival empire had sent a small fleet near their borders. Talks of war filled the air. The queen turned to Ethan. "You will stay close. I may need your help." Ethan swallowed. This was more than he expected. As the tension grew, Ethan realized his simple word, cute, had begun to break the cold shell of the alien queen. But now danger was near, and the queen's true power would soon be tested. The palace was restless. Rumors of the rival fleet spread like wildfire. Every corner was filled with whispers and tension. Queen Jirani's usual cold calm seemed to flicker now and then, like a flame struggling against the wind. Ethan stayed, close, learning more about the alien court and its rules each day. He watched the queen as she prepared for meetings with her generals. Her sharp eyes scanned star maps and battle reports. She spoke with authority that made even the bravest warriors listen. But behind her strength, Ethan noticed something new, a quiet worry. Jirani was a queen who had never known fear. Yet now, when she looked at the stars, her face softened. It was as if the weight of many lives pressed down on her shoulders. One afternoon, Ethan was walking through the palace halls when a young soldier stopped him. "Human," the soldier said quietly. "The queen asked for you. Now." Ethan's heart jumped. He hurried to the royal chambers. When he entered, the queen was waiting without her armor, her expression serious. "Sit," she commanded softly. Ethan obeyed. "The fleet is near," she said. "Our spies report they plan to blockade our supply routes." "What can I do?" Ethan asked. She looked at him. "You understand human ways better than most here. Sometimes a small word can change a great war." Ethan thought about the word cute. It seemed so small. But he was learning that words held power. "We need a message," the queen said. "One that will confuse them and maybe make them hesitate." Ethan nodded slowly. "I can try." They worked together for hours. Ethan wrote a message in alien script but with human humor hidden inside. The message said, "Your war machines look fierce, but have you ever seen a queen called cute? Be careful, or she might smile at you." Jirani raised an eyebrow. "This is foolish." "Sometimes foolishness is the best weapon," Ethan said with a smile. The queen agreed to send the message, through secret channels. Days passed. The rival fleet slowed its approach. Commanders were confused. Some laughed. Others wondered if the queen was mocking them. Inside the palace, the queen called Ethan to a private dinner. "You are becoming more than a translator," she said quietly. Ethan blushed. "I only want to help. Your kindness is unusual," she said. "And your word? It still echoes in my mind." Ethan smiled. "Words are like seeds. Sometimes they grow into something big." Jirani's eyes softened. "You have planted a strange seed in me, human." Suddenly, the palace was attacked. Alarms screamed, soldiers ran. The rival fleet had broken through a weak point in the defenses. Explosions rocked the palace grounds. Ethan grabbed the queen's hand. "We must go." She nodded, her usual command sharp and clear. "Follow me." They escaped through hidden tunnels beneath the palace. The queen's guards fought bravely but were outnumbered. "In the darkness," Ethan whispered, "you are still the strongest queen I know." Jarani squeezed his hand. Strength is more than power. Sometimes it is knowing when to trust. They reached a safe chamber. For the first time, Ethan saw the queen's armor off. Her silver skin was scarred from battles long past. "Why hide it?" Ethan asked. "Because showing weakness invites enemies," she said. "Or friends," Ethan replied softly. Jarani looked away, thoughtful. The queen rested that night, but sleep was hard to find. Memories of past wars and lost allies haunted. Ethan stayed by her side, sharing stories of his home. His simple words brought her comfort. The next morning, the queen summoned her generals. "We will not let fear rule us," she said. "We will fight smart, not just hard." Ethan helped draft new strategies, mixing alien tactics with human creativity. As the days passed, the queen grew closer to Ethan. Her cold mask cracked more with each word he spoke. One evening, while watching the stars, Ethan said quietly, "You are brave, even when you don't believe it." Jarani smiled faintly. Maybe that is what being called cute really means. Not weakness, but courage hidden behind a mask. Ethan reached out and gently touched her hand. "I will never stop calling you that," he said softly. The queen's eyes sparkled with something new. Hope. The great hall was filled with tension. Rival alien leaders from nearby systems gathered for a critical peace meeting. The queen stood tall, wearing her royal armor, commanding respect from everyone present. The air was thick with unspoken threats and careful words. Ethan entered late, carrying messages from scouts. As he approached the queen, he accidentally bumped into her side. "Sorry, Your Majesty," he whispered, feeling his cheeks heat up. The queen glanced down at him, then with a rare, soft voice said, "You are a clumsy human, but still, my cute human." The room went silent. Every alien's eyes locked on the queen and Ethan. Some gasped quietly. Others shifted uncomfortably. None could believe what they had just heard. Queen Jarani's cheeks flushed a faint pink, a sight no one had ever seen. She quickly straightened, trying to regain control. "This meeting is over," she announced firmly. "We will continue another time." She turned and left the hall, leaving a stunned crowd behind. Ethan stood frozen, unsure what to do. Palace. Guards eyed him cautiously, waiting for a command. Instead, Jarani paused outside the hall, then called Ethan to follow her. They walked quickly through quiet corridors until they reached a private chamber. The queen closed the door behind them and faced Ethan. "Why did you say that word again?" she asked, her voice softer than before. Ethan looked into her eyes. "Because it is true. You are strong and fierce, but also cute. I don't want you to hide that part of yourself." Jarani sighed deeply. "All my life, I have been told to hide weakness, to be a symbol of power and fear. But even queens can be kind," Ethan said. "You don't have to be perfect all the time." For a moment, Jarani looked vulnerable. "I don't know how to be both," she admitted. "You're learning," Ethan replied, "and I'll help you." The queen smiled faintly. As days passed, Ethan and Jarani's bond grew stronger. The queen allowed herself moments of laughter and softness when no one else was near. But the court was not pleased. Whispers of discontent spread. Some nobles feared the queen's change. Others thought Ethan was manipulating her. One night, a group of generals confronted Ethan. "Stay away from the queen," their leader warned. "She is not your plaything." Ethan stood tall. "I only want to help her be herself." The generals sneered and left. The next day, the queen summoned Ethan to the palace roof. They looked out at the stars. "I have never trusted anyone like this," Girani said quietly. "Then trust me," Ethan said. "I see the queen behind the armor, the one who is not afraid to be called cute." Suddenly, a warning siren blared. An enemy fleet was moving fast toward the palace. The queen's eyes hardened. "We must prepare." Ethan joined the war council, using human tactics and words to calm the soldiers. During the battle, the queen fought fiercely. But when she felt weak, Ethan's voice in her mind reminded her of that small word, cute, and the strength it brought. After the victory, the queen stood on the palace balcony, looking at the horizon. "Maybe being called cute is not a curse," she said softly. "It's a gift," Ethan replied. She turned to him, eyes full of warmth. "Thank you, my cute human." Ethan smiled, knowing their story had only just begun. The palace was quiet, but the air was heavy with change. The war had ended, but new challenges waited. Queen Girani stood on the balcony looking over her empire. The stars shone bright, but her thoughts were darker. Ethan joined her, his calm, presence a steady comfort. "You seem different," he said softly. Girani smiled faintly. "I am different. Your word, it changed me." "Cute can mean many things," Ethan said. "It can be strength hidden in softness." The queen looked at him, her eyes full of questions. "I have spent my life wearing armor, both real and inside," she said. "But now I wonder if I can be more." Ethan took her hand gently. "You already are." She led him to the royal garden, where glowing flowers bloomed in the night. "This place was once my refuge," she said. "Now it is a place of hope." The queen removed her heavy crown, revealing her silver hair flowing freely. "I want to be remembered not only as a queen of power, but as one who could feel." Ethan nodded. "And who was brave enough to accept kindness." Their connection grew, and soon the court noticed the change. Some were afraid, but most saw the queen's new strength. One day, during a council meeting, a young ambassador questioned the queen's choices. "Your Majesty," he said, "are you sure this softness will protect us from enemies?" Girani smiled confidently. "Softness and strength are not enemies. They are two sides of the same coin." She paused and added, "And sometimes, a single word can change the fate of an empire." Ethan watched proudly. Later, the queen invited Ethan to her private chamber. "You have taught me more than I expected," she said, "and I want you to stay by my side." "I would be honored," Ethan replied. Together, they planned to bring peace and understanding to their worlds. The queen's secret was no longer a weakness. It was her greatest power, and it all began with one human word, cute.